Good evening, I'm Joe Skrzyszewski, and thanks for tuning in to First News at 6. The courts have sentenced a man to life in prison without the chance of parole in a 2020 fatal stabbing in northwest Minot. A jury convicted 59-year-old Milo Whitetail in July of AA felony murder in the death of Eric Patterson. Here's my report from today's emotional sentencing at the courthouse in Minot. At an emotional sentencing hearing Friday in Minot, the sister of Eric Patterson fought back tears while describing the kind of person her brother was.
I forgive you, not for you, but for myself. And because I refuse to live the rest of my life with hate in my heart. But more importantly, because that is what Eric would have wanted.
Assistant State's Attorney Tiffany Sorgan initially called for life in prison without parole, but changed it to 50 years, first serve 40, following discussion with the court about life expectancies. She cited Whitetail's lengthy criminal record dating back to the 80s and his issues with alcoholism.
Mr. Whitetail was in fact also an early COVID release from the state penitentiary at the time that he committed this murder. Our office had not even received the release notice that he had been released from the pen when this murder happened.
Whitetail's attorney, Stephen Mottinger, called for the 59-year-old Whitetail to serve 15 years, taking into account his current age and arguing that no one is beyond change.
When you send people to prison with no light at the end of the tunnel, their behavior is probably going to be impacted by that kind of sentence. They have no reason to try and behave.
Whitetail was given the chance to address the court.
I admit I did a lot of things that weren't great as I was growing up as an adult. Every time I did something wrong, I always tried to better myself.
Sorgan rebutted that Patterson lost his life in an apparent dispute over a remote control.
But I cannot afford the kind of hope that unleashes him on society to another victim who ends up underneath his knife. Mr. Mounty was absolutely right. The state believes that he needs to die in prison.
Judge Mattson going with the state's initial request of life without parole.
Somebody does something to me, as you indicated that you're going to do it back, and that you knew that you were just living your life, and that to a certain extent, it's absolutely chilling to hear that. It's not any sign of remorse.
Whitetail will have to serve 85% of the sentencing. Now, Whitetail will have the chance to appeal the jury's verdict. He will also be required to avoid contact with Patterson's family.